Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, after water issues started about 2 weeks ago, one southern Kentucky county is slowly returning to normal. And new details in the trial involving the mother of a Michigan student who killed 4 of his classmates at a high school in 2021.
Plus, a weak weather system could bring a few sprinkles by Friday. Your first alert forecast coming up as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. A southern Kentucky county is slowly getting back to normal after widespread running water issues that impacted nearly everyone. The problem started in Clinton County more than 2 weeks ago when temperatures plummeted. Officials say the aging water system just could not handle the strain on the system. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to emergency officials who have worked to help people get bottled water through the situation.
Crews are out working on water lines in the southern part of Clinton County Thursday.
They have worked around the clock and basically got most of the county restored with water. There is one community now that still has a water pressure issue that they're currently still working on, but all water should be restored to all citizens at this time.
That's in the Hogback area south of Albany, but officials say at one time last month, nearly everyone in the county was without service.
They had to repair, I know they were up to 80 plus leaks to repair.
The cold weather caused the pipes to break and water simply could not flow to areas it was needed. Bottled water was made available to people, and other organizations stepped up with shower and laundry trailers.
As far as cases out, I'd be afraid to say, but I know we've handed out probably way over 150 pallets of water so far.
An official with the Kentucky Division of Water told me that this aging water system simply could not keep up with thousands of people all dripping their water faucets to keep their pipes from freezing all at once. That in turn was coupled with a problem with the electrical grid here, not able to keep up with the demand, some outages causing some water pumps not to operate. A boil water advisory remains in effect, and because of that, bottled water is still available, a case per household.
I think we're winding down on giving water out because all the county has water restored back, and as long as that is stable, we're wanting to make sure that there's no other issues that will become.
Local and state officials are working on an improvement project, which officials say is in the study phase. In Clinton County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Albany's mayor released a detailed statement thanking God and multiple people and agencies to get through this emergency. You can see that entire statement on WYMT.com.
We are tracking some calm and comfortable weather across the mountains on this Thursday evening. Here's a live look from Southwest Virginia from UVA-wise. 46 degrees, one of the cooler spots in our region. Slope to 56 in Manchester, 53 for Pikeville, also Jackson, 54 in Hazard, also in Harlan at this hour. So once again, we are mild as we go into this evening. Most of us about 10 to 15 degrees warmer at this hour compared to this time yesterday. And that warming trend will also continue as we go into this weekend as well. Up on first alert, pinpoint Doppler as high pressure is the big story this evening. We are dry, but notice as we zoom out, we are tracking a cold front over Wisconsin, also Michigan, and that will continue floating off to the south as we go into late tonight, also by Friday. So possibly a few sprinkles tomorrow, also some more cooler conditions, but not chilly as we go into your Friday. Highs still back in the upper 40s and lower 50s. If you have those plans to fire up the grill this evening, more dry and comfortable weather is on tap. Those temperatures back in the upper 40s and lower 50s, and we fall into the middle and lower 40s and some 30s on the way as you wake up on Friday. Some slightly cooler weather tomorrow and then some more above average temperatures by this weekend. Those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thank you. President Biden is headed for Michigan today, where he could be facing a tough fight in the November election. He won the state in 2020 and hopes for a repeat, especially after picking up a key endorsement. CBS's Skylar Henry has the latest on the 2024 race for the White House.
President Biden arrived in a critical battleground state. Days after a valuable endorsement from the United Auto Workers, Biden met with union members in Detroit. Competing for the working class vote, former President Donald Trump met with the Teamsters on Wednesday. But the powerful labor union has not yet announced an endorsement.
Stranger things have happened. Usually a Republican wouldn't get that endorsement. For many, many years, they only do Democrats, but in my case, it's different.
Trump supporters are turning their attention to the upcoming South Carolina primary and the matchup with the last candidate fighting him for the Republican nomination.
It's a great day in South Carolina.
After losing in Iowa and New Hampshire, Nikki Haley is pinning her hopes on her home state, focusing on her achievements as South Carolina's governor.
We made South Carolina proud. It is time that we make America proud. And more than that, it is time that we make America normal again.
Even as she sharpens her attacks on Donald Trump, Haley faces an uphill battle.
Donald Trump, I think, is the clear favorite to win this state, in part because the Republican base is still very much in his camp, and they're the individuals that typically turn out to vote in a primary.
With a little more than 3 weeks to go until that primary, a recent poll shows the former president with a double-digit lead. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Well, a new poll finds President Biden now has a lead over former President Trump in a hypothetical matchup for president. The Quinnipiac University National Poll has President Biden with 50% support from registered voters. That is 6 points ahead of Trump, who has 44%. The poll of more than 1,600 registered voters across the nation took place from January 25th to the 26th. Now, in December, this same poll found a head-to-head matchup between the two was too close to call. We have a deal. That's the word from European Commission President Charles Michel after a summit on Ukraine aid. All 27 EU leaders agreed on a nearly $54 billion aid package to support war efforts. Michel posted online that, quote, "The EU is taking leadership and responsibility in support for Ukraine. We know what is at stake."
I'm confident that this decision that you have made today will help in the United States those who are determined to support Ukraine for as long as it takes.
The biggest hurdle the EU leaders had previously was overcoming opposition from the Hungarian Prime Minister, who blocked the funding back in December. In his first news conference since returning to work, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin admitted mistakes in the handling of his prostate cancer treatment. Austin was hospitalized overnight in December for prostate cancer surgery. In January, he was hospitalized again for complications from that surgery. Austin also had some remarks about the 3 soldiers killed in the drone attack in the Middle East recently.
Our thoughts and prayers are with their families and their loved ones, and we know that this grief will never leave them. And we hope that they know that the department's love and support will never leave them either.
Sergeant William J. Rivers, Sergeant Kennedy L. Sanders, and Sergeant Brianna A. Moffitt died in the drone attack in Jordan last weekend. Senator Josh Hawley says legislation will be coming to deal with online safety on social media. Yesterday, the Missouri Republican went viral questioning Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Hawley asked Zuckerberg to apologize to parents and victims of cyberbullying. After several tense minutes, Zuckerberg did apologize to families, but Hawley says that's not enough and he is demanding change.
Here's what needs to happen now. Congress needs to act. Congress needs to allow the victims to get into court and to sue these platforms. These tech companies are the only companies in America where if they sell a product to people that kills them, you can't do anything about it. We've got to change that. So next week, I'm going to go to the floor of the Senate, and I'm going to put legislation on the floor and demand a vote on a bill to allow parents and victims to sue.
The Senate's left for the weekend, but will be back on Monday. New details are out in the trial of Jennifer Crumbly, the mother of a Michigan school shooter. Evidence shown in court today revealed she drained her son's bank account the day of the shooting, transferring $3,000 from it to her own account. She then withdrew $6,000 cash in the following days. Jennifer and James Crumbly were arrested days later in a Detroit warehouse where officials discovered more than $6,600 in cash. They are accused of neglecting their son's mental health and making a gun accessible to him. An Atlanta area high school was put on lockdown after a shooting. It happened in the parking lot of McEachern High School in Cobb County. Neither victim, we're told, is a student, and there are no life-threatening injuries. Police say the campus is secure, but they are not allowing parents to pick up students, and buses will not run until the lockdown is lifted. At last check, that hadn't been done yet. They are looking for more than one suspect. A 16-year-old high school student in Chicago was fatally shot a few blocks away from his school yesterday. 2 other students were hurt, and one remains in critical condition. Police say several people got out of a car that pulled up near the teens and opened fire. The investigation is ongoing and no arrests have been made.
There was a vehicle that pulled up. Several individuals got out of that vehicle and fired weapons in the direction of these individuals, striking all 3.
The loss of life is horrific under all circumstances, but it is especially harsh when our young people are targeted.
Last week, 2 high school students were shot and killed shortly after leaving their high school. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, do you love a good bargain? Well, negotiation tips we'll have for you that could help you avoid paying full price.
Plus, we stay above average for the first weekend of February. Those details coming up after this break.